They tell you protein destroys your kidneys. That is a dangerous lie designed to keep dialysis clinics profitable while you wither away. Look in the mirror. Are your muscles wasting away while you feel weaker every single day? That is not just kidney disease. That is starvation. The truth is, protein is not the enemy. The wrong type cooked at the wrong temperature is the assassin. Hiding in your fridge right now are 5 specific bioactive proteins that can actually repair your glomerular filtration barrier, but only if you follow the exact protocol I am about to reveal. The latest research has shown that blindly cutting protein from your diet does not give your kidneys a rest. In fact, it actually accelerates muscle wasting, weakens the immune system, and quietly triggers chronic inflammation that can lead to heart failure and uremic toxicity. And here's the scariest part: 99% of kidney disease patients have no idea this is happening. A groundbreaking study published in the American Journal of Nephrology revealed that a deficiency of just one essential amino acid in a restrictive diet can increase the risk of death by up to 50% within only 2 years. Yet this harsh, overly restrictive dieting approach is still being prescribed as a supposedly safe solution. In this video, we will reveal 5 super protein sources that can completely transform your life. At number 2 is the most remarkable healing protein on the list, one that helped one of my patients raise their GFR, glomerular filtration rate, from 15 to 45 in a truly miraculous recovery. Everything you're about to hear is backed by real science, peer-reviewed research, and decades of work in kidney rehabilitation nutrition. Before we begin, I have 2 questions for you. First, what is your current creatinine level? Second, have you ever noticed foamy urine, swelling in your body, or feeling completely exhausted after meals? Let us know in the comments. We read and respond to everyone with personalized guidance and protocols. Now, let's begin with protein number 5. Number 5 is chicken, but let me be crystal clear. I am not talking about the factory-farmed poultry sitting in the styrofoam tray at your local supermarket. You have been told for years that white meat is the safe option for your kidneys, but that advice is dangerous if you are buying the wrong bird. The reality is that 90% of standard grocery store chicken is injected with a saltwater solution containing inorganic phosphate additives to plump up the meat and increase shelf life. This is critical to understand because your body processes this differently than natural food. Natural phosphorus found in organic food is bound to protein, and your gut only absorbs about 60% of it. However, the inorganic phosphate preservatives in commercial chicken are free-floating and 100% soluble. They absorb into your bloodstream 10 times faster than natural sources, creating an immediate spike that your compromised kidneys cannot filter out. This triggers a reaction where your body pulls calcium from your bones to balance the pH, leading to calcified arteries and weaker bones. To safely consume this protein, you must follow a strict biohacking protocol. First, you must switch to organic, pasture-raised chicken breast. This ensures no phosphate injections. But sourcing is only half the battle. The preparation is where most people destroy their kidneys unknowingly. Here is the exact preparation method. Before cooking, rinse the meat briefly with a mixture of water and apple cider vinegar to remove surface residues. Next, you must control the heat. Never grill your chicken until it has black char marks, and never fry it. High dry heat creates advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These are sticky toxins that clog up the tiny filters in your kidneys. You must bake your chicken at exactly 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius. This temperature is the safety threshold that cooks the meat without generating a high load of inflammatory toxins. To make this safe protein actually healing, you need a synergistic catalyst. You must cook this with sliced white onions. Onions are loaded with quercetin, a powerful antioxidant that stabilizes the cell membranes in your kidneys and protects them from oxidative stress during digestion. And finally, the absolute never rule. Never eat the skin. The skin is a concentrated source of inflammatory fats and is often where environmental toxins are stored. Remove it completely. Stick to a portion size of exactly 3 ounces per serving. If you follow this protocol, you get the essential amino acids to stop muscle wasting without the toxic phosphate spike that accelerates kidney failure. Now, moving forward to an even more powerful protein that acts as a natural albumin booster. Number 4 requires a surgical approach to your diet: egg whites. But notice I did not say eggs. If you are eating the whole egg because a health magazine told you it is a superfood, you are making a critical mistake that burdens your kidneys with unnecessary phosphorus. The yolk is a phosphorus grenade. For a healthy person, it is fine. For someone with compromised kidney function, that yolk accelerates mineral bone disease. However, the white of the egg is the gold standard of protein. It has a biological value of 100, which means your body utilizes almost every gram of it for repair without leaving behind heavy nitrogenous waste for your kidneys to filter. This is crucial because of one specific protein called albumin. Many of you watching this suffer from edema, the swelling in your ankles and legs that makes walking painful. This happens because your blood lacks the pressure to hold fluids in the vessels, so they leak into your tissues. Albumin acts like a biological sponge that maintains oncotic pressure, pulling that fluid back into the bloodstream where it belongs. But to get this benefit, you must follow the protocol exactly. Do not scramble these, and do not fry them. Here is the only way you should consume them. Crack the egg and separate it immediately. Discard the yolk. Take the whites and hard-boil them for exactly 9 minutes. This timing is not a suggestion, it is a requirement. If you eat egg whites that are runny or soft-boiled, they contain an active anti-nutrient called Avidin. Avidin binds to biotin, a B vitamin essential for your metabolism, and prevents your body from absorbing it. By boiling for exactly 9 minutes, you denature the Avidin, neutralizing the threat while keeping the protein intact. Once peeled, do not eat them plain. You need to activate a synergistic effect by sprinkling them with exactly 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder. The curcumin in the turmeric binds with the protein structures to reduce systemic inflammation in the renal tubules. And finally, the warning that you must heed. Never fry egg whites in butter or vegetable oil. The moment you introduce hydrogenated fats or oxidized butter to high heat, you create lipid peroxidations that attack the lining of your blood vessels. Stick to the 9-minute boil. It is clean, it is precise, and it delivers pure albumin to your system. Now, let's move to an omega-rich shield that protects the nephrons themselves. Number 3 is the omega-3 shield, wild-caught fatty fish. Specifically, we're talking about wild-caught salmon or sardines. But before you rush to the seafood counter, you need to understand that there's a massive difference between wild fish and the farmed imposters that flood 90% of grocery stores. Farmed salmon is essentially just floating corn and soy. Because they are fed a grain-based diet, their flesh is high in inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids and often contains PCBs, which are industrial chemicals that accumulate in fat tissues. If you eat farmed salmon, you are loading your already stressed kidneys with inflammation. You need wild-caught fish because they are rich in EPA and DHA, the specific omega-3 fatty acids that act as a biological fire extinguisher for your nephrons. The mechanism here is critical for anyone suffering from proteinuria, which is when your kidneys leak protein into your urine. Think of your kidneys as a sieve. When they are inflamed, the holes in the sieve get bigger, letting precious protein escape. Clinical studies have shown that high doses of clean omega-3s help tighten the podocytes in the kidney filter, effectively stitching that sieve back together and reducing protein loss. However, even if you buy the most expensive wild salmon, you can ruin its medicinal value in the kitchen. Most people bake fish at 400 degrees or pan-sear it until it is crispy. That is a mistake. High heat oxidizes the delicate omega-3 fatty acids, turning them rancid before they even touch your tongue. Here is the strict protocol for preservation. You must use the low and slow method. Set your oven to exactly 275 degrees Fahrenheit, or 135 degrees Celsius. Place your fish in a glass baking dish and let it slow roast. This gentle heat preserves the molecular integrity of the fatty acids so they can actually heal your tissues. Once it is out of the oven, do not eat it yet. You need a catalyst. Squeeze fresh lemon juice over the fish immediately. This is not for flavor. The citric acid and vitamin C create a chemical environment that allows your body to absorb the iron in the fish without creating oxidative stress that burdens the kidneys. And now, the most urgent warning in this entire video. Never, under any circumstances, microwave your fish. I don't care if you are in a rush. Microwaving fish is an act of molecular violence. The rapid oscillation of water molecules destroys the structure of the healthy fats and can create toxic byproducts. If you have leftovers, eat them cold or gently warm them in a pan with water. Treat this food like the medicine it is. Now, let's look at a fermented miracle that outperforms animal protein in almost every renal function test. Number 2 is the fermented miracle, specifically Tempeh or Natto. I know exactly what you are thinking. You have been told to avoid soy because of hormones or thyroid issues. And if we were talking about processed soy milk or cheap tofu, I would agree with you. But fermented soy is a completely different biological entity. This is the secret reason why renal failure rates in certain Japanese populations are significantly lower than in the West, despite their high salt intake. Here is the mechanism that your doctor probably never explained to you. It is called glomerular hyperfiltration. When you eat a steak or a pork chop, your kidneys have to rev up their filtration rate to manage the nitrogen load. Think of it like redlining the engine of your car every time you eat dinner. Eventually, the engine blows. Fermented soy protein provides a complete amino acid profile but without the hyperfiltration effect. It allows your kidneys to idle calmly while still building muscle mass. The fermentation process breaks down the anti-nutrients, specifically phytates, that usually block mineral absorption, making the protein highly bioavailable without the metabolic stress. However, the margin for error here is razor thin. You cannot just buy a block of tempeh and fry it. That destroys the enzymes. Here is the strict protocol to unlock its healing potential. You must steam the tempeh or natto. Do not boil it directly in water, and do not microwave it. Place it in a steamer basket over boiling water for exactly 10 minutes. This time frame is critical. 10 minutes is long enough to kill any opportunistic bacteria that may have formed during fermentation, but short enough to preserve the enzymatic integrity of the bean. Once you remove it from the heat, you need a fat carrier to help your cell membranes assimilate the protein. This is where the synergy happens. Drizzle 1 tablespoon of cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil over the warm tempeh. Do not cook the oil. You add it after the heat is off. The polyphenol in the oil combined with the fermented peptides create a powerful anti-inflammatory shield that reduces oxidative stress in the renal tubules. Now for the warning that could save your life. Do not confuse this with fake meat. I am talking about those highly processed veggie burgers or meat alternatives sold in the frozen section. Those are not health foods, they are sodium bombs constructed from soy isolates and genetically modified fillers. A single patty can contain over 400 milligrams of sodium and enough preservatives to shut down a struggling kidney. If it looks like a burger but is made in a lab, leave it in the freezer. Stick to the traditional, fermented block. Now, we are moving to the number 1 protein, the absolute king of renal health that acts as an alkaline buffer for your blood. And finally, we reach number 1. The renal supergrain, buckwheat. Let's correct a major misconception immediately. Despite the name, this has absolutely nothing to do with wheat. It is a pseudo-cereal, a fruit seed related to rhubarb. And it sits at the very top of this list for one specific physiological reason: renal acid load. You need to understand that every time you eat beef, pork, or even certain beans, your metabolism creates a surge of dietary acid. Your kidneys, which are already struggling, have to produce ammonia to neutralize that acid. That ammonia is toxic to your kidney tissues. It creates a cycle of damage. Buckwheat is the exception. It delivers a complete protein profile, containing all 9 essential amino acids, but it is alkalizing. It effectively halts that acid production cycle, giving your kidneys a vacation from the chemical warfare of digestion. But you cannot just boil it out of the box. If you do that, you lock the nutrients away behind a wall of anti-nutrients. Here is the soaking protocol you must follow. You must submerge the raw groats in warm water with exactly 1 teaspoon of lemon juice and leave them for at least 8 hours, preferably overnight. This step is non-negotiable. It activates phytase, an enzyme that breaks down phytic acid. If you skip this, the phytic acid binds to zinc and calcium in your gut, robbing your body of minerals instead of replenishing them. After soaking, rinse them thoroughly to wash away the released toxins. Then, place them in a pot and simmer. Do not boil violently, simmer for exactly 15 minutes until tender. Now, to unlock the true healing potential, you need a synergistic partner. You must serve this with half a cup of organic blueberries. Buckwheat is rich in a bioflavonoid called rutin, which strengthens blood vessels. When you combine rutin with the anthocyanins in blueberries, you create a compound effect that reinforces the tiny capillaries inside your kidneys, preventing them from leaking. And finally, the warning. Do not let a sales clerk substitute this with whole wheat or wheat berries. Whole wheat is a phosphorus bomb that is incredibly difficult for a compromised kidney to filter. Buckwheat is gluten-free, low phosphorus, and chemically superior for renal repair. Make this your breakfast standard. Now, let's wrap this up with the most important rule of all. So there you have the blueprint. We have covered organic chicken, egg whites, wild salmon, fermented soy, and buckwheat. But remember, and this is the most critical takeaway from this entire video, the food itself is only half the equation. You can buy the most expensive wild-caught salmon in the world, but if you microwave it, you have turned medicine into poison. You can buy the best buckwheat, but if you do not soak it to remove the phytates, you are robbing your bones of minerals. It is about the specific combination, the exact temperature, and the synergistic catalysts like lemon juice, turmeric, and olive oil. Your body is designed to heal. It is not designed to fail. The reason your kidneys are struggling is not just because of age, it is because they are overwhelmed by the toxic load of the modern diet. If you stop feeding them inflammation and start giving them the right biological building blocks, regeneration is not just a hope, it is a physiological probability. I am not asking you to trust me blindly. I am asking you to test this. Commit to this strict protocol for exactly 21 days. Do not cheat. Do not skip the soaking. Then, go back to your doctor and demand a new blood panel. Look at your GFR. Look at your creatinine levels. The numbers will not lie. Noticeable improvements often happen within those first few weeks when the inflammatory burden is lifted. Now, I want to hear from you. We are building a community here focused on results, not just theories. If you are comfortable, share your current GFR or creatinine numbers in the comments below, or tell me which of these 5 proteins you have been afraid to eat because of outdated advice. Let's track this journey together. However, fixing your protein intake is only the first step. There is a specific liquid that 90% of seniors drink every single morning, thinking it helps their digestion, but in reality, it is crystallizing in your kidney tubules and causing permanent scarring. You need to know exactly what that is before you take another sip. Click the video on your screen right now to uncover the truth about this morning killer.